Welcome everyone to the Lavender Summer Camp Part 2 Lavender Essential Oil. I am so happy to have you all with us today, and Ruth and Zoe are too. I am broadcasting live from France, and Ruth is in Ireland and Zoe is in France. So we're so excited to be with you today because lavender is one of our favorite essential oils and it's very dear to my heart. It's helped my family, my friends, and my clients in so many different ways because, as we know, lavender is the mother essential oil. So, do you feel anxious? Raise your hand and let Ruth know if you feel anxious, and she's going to let me know if any of you are feeling anxious or have been feeling anxious or have been anxious before in your life. I know I've been anxious, and sometimes I didn't realize how anxious I was. I was so anxious to do everything perfect. I was so anxious to please others. I didn't want to disappoint anybody. And this caused me a lot of anxiousness, and for me to burn both ends of the candle, as you would say, and I really did burn out. And today you're going to find out that, lavender is exactly for that. It's for burnout. So let's see how many of you said that you have felt anxious or you're feeling anxious. Another part of this too is more and more people are suffering from anxiety due to what we went through for during the pandemic with COVID, because now they're more concerned about getting COVID. They're concerned about getting other viruses. It kind of put a fear in everybody and made them anxious. And when this happens, it affects us in so many different ways. And so we're going to talk about that here in a second. Yes, and Bruce said most of you said you have felt um, anxiety before. So I'm your master instructor. I'm Lori Hargis, registered aromatherapist and flower essence practitioner. I have spent 36 years in aromatherapy and also natural health. And I base my information on the latest scientific research and ancient teachings. Today, we're going to be talking about olfactory medicine. Yesterday, we talked about flower healing. And we will be doing some breath work today. We will be seeing how we connect the brain gut health. Because as I was just saying, when you are more anxious, and they saw studies of this during the pandemic, especially with women. Women had more pressure than men at that time, unless you were a single father, because women were having to do all the homeschooling, plus they were working, plus they were doing all the household chores. Women usually have 30% more work at home than men do. And so it put more stress on women, caused them to be more anxious. And what it did was it affected their microbiome in their gut. So they started getting more infections. They started feeling worse. And then this led them into depression, not only anxiety, but went to depression. Because when your gut bacteria has been affected, there's been studies shown where it will affect your emotions and you have more risk of being depressed. So today we're going to talk about connecting all the bodies because we are going to be using acupressure today. So make sure you have your lavender essential oil. And if you happen to have a roll-on bottle, that would be great. Put 1 ounce of carrier oil and 12 drops of lavender in a roll-on bottle. We also are incorporating the mental and emotional wellness to develop your self-confidence in using lavender flower essence and lavender essential oil and giving you the knowledge so you can share. That's what this information is for, so you can share it with others. And today you'll be able to show them how to just use lavender essential oil by itself and use it with some acupressure points to help people with anxiety. I mean, I've done this on the plane, just giving someone a hand massage who was a stranger sitting next to me. So, this is something that you can do. And our massage today is acupressure that we're going to be using. We are, our formulation today is the 12 drops of lavender in the carrier oil. And tomorrow we're going to be using both of the things together. Our storytelling today is we will be, oh, and we do have another formulation, excuse me. Dawn Thomas, a registered aromatherapist from our school, she is showing her formulation. She's not here with us today, but she's allowed me to present her case study. And that will be our storytelling today. It will be a case study that you can learn from about anxiety with a teenager. And then also, by you learning how to do all these different things, you're going to learn how to direct your energy to be active, radiant, and giving. So my love story with lavender, it began when we went into a health food store and we purchased lavender essential oil, clary sage, orange, and geranium. And I bought lavender because it said, put 5 to 10 drops in the bath and it will relax you. So I thought, well, that'd be great for the whole family. And then I bought orange because it was uplifting, and clary sage for menstrual cramps, and geranium because it was balancing to the nervous system. So this is the things that I saw, in this little book. So I brought it home, and my son at that time was 9 years old. And this is Bert here. Bert is a horseshoer, horse chiropractor, and animal health expert. And Bert had stutter since the age of 4. And they have in Chinese medicine, they believe it's to do with the heart meridian. And so today we're going to be talking about the heart meridian, and we talked about it yesterday. And also, if you look at studies, sometimes stuttering is caused because the nerves there that are going to the speech part of the brain are not sending the signals fast enough. Now, it may sound interesting, and because lavender is supposed to calm you, but it also, remember, it works on the nervous system. So we start putting 5 to 10 drops in the bath, and within 30 days, Bert stopped stuttering. So Bert now, he uses lavender on a regular basis. He takes a lavender bath at night. He also uses lavender flower essence, as I talked about yesterday. And he just has such a wonderful feeling with it. It makes him feel good. And so we said, when that did that for Bert, that was our beginning in essential oils. And we said, okay, we are going to use this with our clients, because I was already seeing people with flower essences and herbs and vitamins and minerals. And I was doing iridology and kinesiology. So I can't wait to share more with you today about lavender. Today you will learn, we're going to tune into lavender. So we're going to look at lavender and really tune into it today. What are essential oils? How is lavender essential oil obtained? And how do essential oils work? And then we'll have our lavender essential oil portrait, where Zoe Pichot will come on and she will talk about different lavenders. And what is a lavender flower essence? Excuse me, that should be what is lavender essential oil. And then we'll have our selection guide to lavender essential oil. We'll have a case study by Dawn. It's called Teenage Anxiety. How to use essential oils, how to use lavender essential oil and acupressure for anxiety. And then Zoe will be talking about essential oil safety and lavender essential oil safety. Then we'll have our lavender oil mindful exercise. We'll have our quiz and how to continue your lavender journey. So let's tune in to lavender. So what I'd like you to do is rub your hands together like this. Get your feet flat on the floor. Sit up straight. And then take your lavender. I have a little sample here of lavender. And I want you to take a short sniff of it with both nostrils. And then I'd like you to block off the right side of your right nostril and inhale through the left nostril the lavender. And now release the right nostril, exhale. Now take your thumb and hold your left nostril and breathe in through the right nostril. And now exhale, hold your exhale through the left nostril. Now, when you do that, do you sense anything different from the left to the right side? Let me know. And Ruth's gonna let me know here. Now make sure once you've written that and she lets me know, I want you to make sure your feet are flat on the floor, you're sitting up straight, and I want you to focus in on the lavender flowers. The stems, the color of the lavender, and see how it makes you feel. Because this is an important part of understanding plants, is to understand how they are formed. So really study this and focus in on it. And now with your lavender essential oil, take another short sniff of it. And let's take 3 deep breaths, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Okay, now tell me how you're feeling about lavender since you just went through this little process, tuning into it. And I'm going to read what you guys said earlier. So Kathy says couldn't breathe in as well on the right. Neely said my right side smells it more. My left side is closed a bit. My nose is a little bit broke, has a little bit crooked. And then Melissa said she doesn't see the difference. She says right is more clear, but she has allergies right now. And then Terry says smells a little different in each nostril. So now let me know what you guys feel about lavender now. You smelt it and you've looked at the picture of it and you've done some breathing after you've smelt it. And Lynette says it smells stronger on the left side for her. So I'm going to give Ruth a few minutes here to, not a few minutes, but a few seconds here to get these other messages to me here about how you're feeling about it. Because you know, it's different yesterday when we used the flower essence. Okay. So Liko says, it's like it's easier to breathe now. Melissa says, love the shape of the flower, find it very unique, love the smell, and have expectations of its wonders. Interesting. Terry says, as always, feels calming, soothing, and always relaxing. Kathy says, I'm not sure what I'm looking for, so I don't feel anything. Well, just look at the color. If the color brings out any kind of feeling that you have, or does the shape of the flower represent something to you? And so Lisa says, easier to breathe, calming. And Liko says, love the color. It's one of my favorites. Great. Thank you guys for sharing. So at the end of this webinar, you can ask any questions that you have. Also book your free 30-minute discovery aromatherapy session. Yesterday, we offered flower essence sessions. Today, we're offering aromatherapy sessions. So Ruth will stick that in the chat. She will send that in the chat right now. She'll give you that link. Now, please make sure that you don't go on my schedule on tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm teaching this class, so I won't be able to do it. So we have people already sign up for Wednesday, and I will send a message to you about that. But Friday is available, and next week is available. So please make sure you get your discovery session in, because we only have so many sessions. And Ruth also has a free 30-minute discovery session. And I'm not sure if Zoe, if we have her on there yet, but if we don't, we'll put Zoe on there too, if she has the time. So today, make sure that you participate, because when you participate, you also get our special PDF files of my favorite lavender formulations. So we'll have a PDF file that was for yesterday, that was flower essences, and today it will be essential oil formulations. So we have two different PDF files. So if you don't participate today, you won't get the essential oil one. So just want to let you know that. Plus, get a chance, the more you participate, you get a chance to win 1 month in the Common Sense community for free. And also, make sure you get signed up in our Common Sense community, because we do so much in that group. It's such a fun group. Everyone has a great time. Everybody's helping each other. And we have a chat on Tuesdays where you can ask any questions. On the first Tuesday of each month, usually, except summer, because a lot of travel for me, we have holidays too. We have our workshops, and our workshops all this year are all about balancing the meridians with the 38 Bach flower remedies with acupressure. And then what you'll do is you'll get all of those, and you'll also get the archives of the year before, where we did nothing but organic skincare, from mature skin to sensitive skin. So make sure that you get signed up for that. You also get continuing education units with the NAHA for them. You get one continuing education unit, because they're about an hour to an hour and a half. So now let's look at, what is an essential oil? Remember, we have our quiz. So when you participate in the quiz, you will get a chance to get that 1 month of our Common Sense community. So essential oils are the vital energies from the inside of the roots, such as ginger and vetiver, seeds such as cardamom and parsley, plants such as lavender, grasses like lemongrass, flowers like neroli and jasmine and rose, resins like frankincense and myrrh, woods like cedarwood and sandalwood, trees like eucalyptus, ravensara, and fruits like bergamot, orange, lemon, lime, and mandarin. Each essential oil has different chemical constituents. And this is why it's so important to, advance yourself into aromatherapy, because essential oils have very powerful chemical constituents. And if you look at that, that's why it's important for you to have more than just a basic glass in it. It truly is, for you to use them correctly and safely. And that's why these chemical constituents give it their antiviral properties, anti-infectious, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, soothing, cooling, stimulating, uplifting, and analgesic properties. These healing energies are used in the practice of aromatherapy for our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. And here's a picture of us when we were cutting lavender with our dear friend Joelle and Zoe. Here's my daughter Zoe, and you're going to get to see her today. This one, she was about 13 or 14, and we were with Joelle. Joelle has known Zoe before she was born, and he's always cut the plants on Domaine de Castillo when we lived there. And he's just such a great guy. We love Joelle so much. So how is lavender essential oil obtained? And here's Joelle cutting the lavender. And this was a Lavandula augustifolia. And it's obtained by cutting the flowers, the stalks, and the stems. So you cut it, right? And as you see here, before we're getting ready to distill it, you see the stalks, the stems, the leaves, and you see the flowers. And then last year, Zoe did the distillation there on Domaine de Castillo, and her father has been doing it for 35 years, and now Zoe is doing distillation too. So Zoe, if you could come on, put your camera on and your sound, and let us know a little bit about how that was to do a distillation like this.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I hope you're well and you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Um, so I think last year actually we didn't distill any true lavender, any Lavandula angustifolia. We distilled lavandine, Lavandula ex intermedia, the lavandine grosso, which I'll talk about maybe a little bit further along the differences between those species. And I have some pictures too of that precise distillation. But yeah, it's a great experience. Here in this distillery, we can work with quite a big quantity. So that still that you see me in, it's um how you say 3 meter cube it can
Three
hold.
cubic meters.
3 cubic meters it can hold. So that's a lot, a lot. That's tons of plants. Um, and so we're working with quite big stills, and so which means that we can get a lot of essential oils out, especially lavandine. So is grown there because we're not at a very high altitude. So we're not going to grow true lavender like we're going to do more in the southeast part of France where you're going to be in the Alps. So lavandine grows in big quantities and very easily, and there's a lot of essential oils in it. And so this was like a little family that brought us what they make, and they sell it especially to people who work in sports and do sports around their house. And at first they didn't keep the hydrosol, and now they do because they realized how great it is and that they can sell it and people can use it also for their bruises, their cuts. And so I think it's a very nice, very soft plant to distill. It was quite nice and quite easy. It's also very satisfying because there's a lot of oil that comes out. So you see it really like overfill in the Florentine, and really spill over with oil where there's other plants where we're just like, oh, how many milliliters are we gonna get out of it? And it's not too strong, at the difference of like helichrysum or helichrysum was probably the hardest. I think it's the hardest to distill because especially we spent like 3 days in it just distilling that all day long. So that was very hard, and yeah, it really depends, but I quite enjoyed it.
Well, great. Well, thank you, Zoe, for sharing that with us. I appreciate it, and we'll be talking to you soon again. So now let's go to how do essential oils work? You know, essential oils are so absolutely wonderful, and this is the reason why I wanted you to start sniffing your lavender essential oil. So if you sniff your lavender essential oil, then as you do, you'll realize, I mean, you won't realize because all these things go off so quick and we're miraculous as human beings, right? But you have little villi that are in your mucous membranes, especially, in your nasal cavity there. And so what it does is it picks up on the molecules of the lavender essential oil and it sends it to your emotional part of your brain here. It goes from your olfactory bulb, into this area here. And that's called the psycho, which is the P. All right. So remember that psycho P. And this is where you store all your memories, your good and your bad memories. Also where you store all your sense of smell. So if I'm going to smell something, it's going to be different for me than a French person that I'm sitting next to. They're going to smell lavender and it's going to remind them of France, right? I'm going to smell lavender and I'm going to have a whole different experience. So we have all these things that come into us from the time we are in the womb. We taste and smell in our mother's womb. So when our mother is eating garlic, we're tasting garlic, we're smelling garlic, we're getting all the smells that she smelt during the pregnancy. So that is there. That memory is stored of all those smells. So you can pick up on it and say, oh, that's curry. Oh, that's cardamom. Oh, that's ginger. You just didn't one day decide that. It was there. It's been planted in you from your culture and from your experience with your mother. So that's the psycho part. And that's also the part of you that can say, I don't like that smell. And as an aromatherapist, it's really best that you make a formulation that fits your client's sense of smell. You know, don't push them to use something they don't like the smell of. And I've told many people, don't use it, please. Oh, no, no, I'll use it anyway. It's like, no, don't use it because it's not pleasant to you. You want to use something that's pleasant and that you feel makes you feel good. Then what happens too is as you smell something, it goes up here and it goes the olfactory bulb, excuse me. Let's go on to the neurons. So you have your olfactory neurons, and this fires into also not only your limbic system of the brain, but also to your nerves. So when you smell something, you have either a very relaxing effect or you can have an uplifting effect, right? So lavender can calm you. Now, some people with ADHD, it could speed them up because of the way their nervous system is. So we have to think about that too, of the person that we're working with and how their nervous system is affected by certain essential oils. That's why it's good to have people smell the things when you make a blend. So that is the neuro part there. That's the neuro part. And I'll give an example of an essential oil. You know, people always say that geranium is balancing to the endocrine system, that it works on hormones. Well, there's nothing hormonal in geranium that we know of yet in the chemical constituents. What it does is it balances the nervous system. So when we balance the nervous system, then it can affect the endocrine system. All right. So as we smell something and it starts balancing the nervous system, sending off into our olfactory neurons, then we go to our olfactory bulb, which sends a message to our hypothalamus, which then sends a message to our pituitary gland, which is our master gland, which then sends a message to our adrenal glands and then to our reproductive organs. So this is where we have the endocrinology part of this, of how essential oils work. Now they also work on our immune system because they stimulate, when they're stimulating our endocrine system, they're also stimulating our thymus gland. Okay? They're stimulating also because they're getting in there and they're saying, hey, immune system, let's do your job. Send off those T cells, send off those B cells. So this is why essential oils work so well. And the other reason is, and another great thing about them is you don't have to use much of them and you can have a result. They're that powerful. So remember today that PNIE is psychoneuroimmunoendocrinology. It's the study of the interaction between the psyche, the neural function, endocrine function, and immune responses. Now, when essential oils work on this is HPA axis, the hypothalamus, the pituitary, and the adrenals. Okay, so here we have that what I just talked about. And yesterday we were talking about stress. So here the stress goes in, and what it does is it then sends off this message through our hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal, through the kidneys, and then it makes the cortisol, doesn't it? Right? And this becomes a vicious cycle. And then we have the metabolic effects, which can lead us into disease. When you have a wonderful tool, natural healing tool like essential oils, you have something that can stop that stress, stop that anxiety, and really help you. So when the stress comes on, if you like lavender, take a short sniff of it. Keep it in your purse. Keep it with you. Make a roll on with it to calm you down, to relieve the stress. So that way it doesn't go into a chronic condition. So many people are suffering with chronic conditions. And so this HPA axis is very important for all of us and how the cortisol can affect our metabolic, our body, and how essential oils can help us let go of the stress, the anxiety, and help us to sleep and have better health. So now I'm going to have Zoe come back on because we're going to talk a little bit more about lavender. The lavender that we're speaking about today is lavender fiend essential oil. And this is something that it grows in Haute-Provence between 600 and 1400 meters. And this one is AOP, and It's certified by the French ministry, which means the appellation, origin, protection. So Zoe's going to talk to us a little bit about that. So Zoe, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to share with you my screen if I can to show you some other pictures too. Okay.
I think Ruth will have to make you as a presenter.
Can you see it?
I can't because
Are you still
what I
presenting?
can do here is I think I'm still presenting. So I'll end my show.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And there you go.
Okay, so lavender has a big history in aromatherapy, as you probably know, and a big history in France, where the term aromatherapy first came from. So, Lavandula angustifolia, which was originally also Lavandula officinalis, and officinalis because it was used as like an official medicinal plant. And so it really grew um, all around the Mediterranean and was used since antiquity for a lot of different things. And in France, there was a big culture of using it for perfumery, but also of the farmers and the peasants um, using it to protect themselves from a lot of different illnesses. And so today in aromatherapy, we use a lot of true lavender, but it can also be quite expensive since we have decided what is true lavender and since there is the AOP. So getting organic AOP true lavender can be quite expensive, and there are other lavender species that can be used. So here it's written in French, but you can see we have Lavandula latifolia also, which is the aspic lavender. We have lavandine, which is a hybrid between Lavandula latifolia and Lavandula angustifolia. And then we have Lavandula stoicas, which grows a lot by the sea, by the Mediterranean Sea, which we can also call like Spanish lavender or butterfly lavender, I think. So here's, for example, a little picture of true lavender. And so it takes 120 kilos of the flowers and the stems to make 1 kilo of essential oil. So that's also why it is very expensive. Whereas lavender aspic, I'm just going to go briefly through these because we're not going to talk a lot about their properties, but the different species have different chemical composition, so they're going to be used for different things. So lavender aspic has a lot of linalool, as does the true lavender, Lavandula angustifolia. But what makes it quite different is that it has also 1.8 phenol and camphor. And depending on where it comes from, you can have a high amount of camphor or not. So, for example, there was a lot of um, this lavender coming out of Portugal that could have up to 50% of camphor. So that means that you're going to use it only for very specific things. And mostly, if you have appropriate training, and I would say even medical training, because camphor has a lot of contraindications. So definitely to not use with children. Definitely don't use in pregnancy, like like all essential oils. But what is great is that it is very antibacterial. And there was great interest in it in the 90s for treating tuberculosis as an antibiotic, since a lot of the different bacteria were developing antibodies to the antibiotics. So that this plant was very interesting. Then we have the Spanish lavender, which is also quite different chemically because it has 70 to 80% of ketones, one that is called finchone. And so you have to be very careful because it is neurotoxic and abortive. but it's going to be mostly used for the respiratory system because it's mucolytic, antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, and it's going to have great healing properties for the skin, and it's going to be more of a stimulating essential oil. And then we also have lavandine. Oh, I'm sorry. Here we are. That I talked about a little bit earlier, and here I thought was an interesting picture, showing also the difference between lavandula angustifolia and lavandula and the hybrid, which is a natural hybrid, and then people realize that it grows really well and produces a lot, so let's let's produce some more. And then there's also your lavandine super. There's different types that of hybrids that have been made, but these make really tall bushes, and the flowers are going to be smaller, and is going to also have um, different uses. But like I said before, it's going to be also antibacterial, and great to use on the skin and for any bruises, pains, burns, insect bites, and it's going to be a great resource. So I'm going to stop sharing and see if you have any questions that I didn't see. Okay. I don't see any questions. Which lavender is not safe for pregnancy? Well, with the Lori Hargis International School of Aromatherapy, we say we do not recommend using any essential oils during pregnancy, and you would definitely not use lavender aspic, so the latifolia, or Lavandula stoicus, so the like Spanish lavender. That looks very different. It has a very different flower than the true lavender that we're used to seeing, or even lavandine, because those um we're going to talk about it a little bit more. I don't mean to kind of spoil maybe a part of Lori's presentation and the rest of mine on safety, but Lavandula angustifolia, true lavender, is widely used because it's considered to be quite soft, let's say, and usable with a lot of different kinds of uh, of illnesses and different kinds of afflictions, and for different types of populations. And we're going to think that it's not, that there's not a lot of potential harm. Well, we're going to see that there is some safety that you need to look at, and but it's mostly has a lot of esters and a lot of monoterpenols that aren't too nocive. They're not neurotoxic. They're not abortive. They're just sensitizing for the skin, for example. There's a bit of coumarin also that we're going to talk about, but there's not going to be a lot of ketones, like the other ones, which make it where you're going to be a lot more careful with your use. Well, you should always be careful when you use an essential oil. Um, and for example, the Spanish lavender is very strong. So it's going to be great to help heal respiratory problems. But you're just going to use a tiny bit in your essential oil blend because it is so powerful, and you're always going to want to highly dilute it. And that's why it's also so important to seek training in safety in aromatherapy, because there's constantly things that we can learn about, and subtle differences and uses and cultural uses and differences that can vary. Yes, and lavender essential oil is
Any other
great.
questions, Zoe, that you see?
No, I don't see any more. I'll hand the
Okay.
presentation back
Well,
over to
thank you
you.
so much for that. All right. Thanks, Oz. All right. So I'm back, and Now I'm going to share my screen again here. And Ruth, is it showing my screen? I think it is. Great. Okay. So thanks so much, Zoe, for that. I really appreciate it. It's wonderful. We wanted to let you guys know about the different kinds. Just, there's so many different lavenders, but these major lavenders, we thought it was very important today. So how many of you from yesterday, and if you didn't get to, you'll get our comment today. You'll get our recording. How many of you learn more about flower essences? And we really would like you to join our Common Sense community so you can learn how to use flower essences and acupressure to balance your meridians. So don't forget, you get monthly workshops, you get a weekly group chat with us every Tuesday, and we have a private Facebook group for any questions that you want to learn. We have special discounts for classes, programs, and events. So make sure that you sign up for our Common Sense community. So what is lavender essential oil? Now, we're looking at lavender essential oil today on a emotional and mental level and on the personality of the essential oil. So according to Warwood, lavender essential oils imbalances are high strung, wound up, absorbing energies off of everyone and never discharging them. So it means you're taking on all this stuff of other people. You just keep on going. It's the person who keeps on going all the time. You're doing this for so and so, you're doing this for so and so because you're the mother. It's the mother. When it's in this balancing, it's the mother. But if the mother gets out of balance where she's overdoing and she's running around trying to do everything for everybody, she just absorbs all of that and she never has a time to discharge it. She never gives herself a break. So think of that. Think of lavender like that. So when it's in its positive qualities, though, the perfect balance between the masculine and feminine. It is completely mothering in its personality, electric, formidable, yet gentle and kind. The perfect embodiment of the mother. The lavender personality loves earth, flowers, and trees. Lavenders are grounded and have an inexhaustible amount of energy that allows them to help others. And you can check out more about this in Valerie Warwood's book, The Fragrant Mind. But let's look at, it's kind of like yesterday we had someone say, lavender, it's like it has these individual flowers, but yet it's like a group too. So you can see how the mothering part of this flower is there. It's like, okay, I'm here, but I'm also with all of you guys here. I'm also going to, help take care of you. So, and the common denominator that we had between the lavender flower essence and the lavender essential oil is this high strung and wound up. And that's why we had our June 4th forecast on lavender was about being high strung and wound up. So if you haven't watched that video or gone to our blog, make sure you do. And Ruth can put the link in the chat for that. So you guys make sure you watch it because there's a formulation in there and all kinds of other good stuff too. Make sure you get all the information you can on lavender this month. So this is really the imbalance, high strung, wound up, and then the balance is gentle, kind, because when you're wound up and high strung, you're irritable. There's no way you're gentle and kind. So that's when you use lavender essential oil, it calms you down, where you have this more, you get a lot done, but you're gentle and you're kind. You're not all strung out. So let's look at a selection guide to lavender essential oil. So this is all the different things that lavender essential oil can help you on an emotional and mental level. For addiction, agitation. So if you're wound up and high strung, you're going to be agitated. Anxiety, apprehension, burnout. Like I was talking about how I burned out as a teenager and got valley fever. I wish I'd known about lavender essential oil then. Conflict. When you're high strung, you can't handle conflict. It's too much for your nervous system. Depression, distracted. You're all over the place and you're not for anybody because, oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do that. And your kids are saying, Mom, I just want to talk to you. Mom, listen. And you're like, oh, yeah, but I got this, I got that. Well, that's not really being, present as a mother. So think about lavender when you use it. Think about how it's going to give you that presence as a parent. It's for emotional violence. Emotional violence is where somebody has threatened you. They have isolated you. They have told you, don't tell. That's emotional violence. It can help you with that. It can help you let that go and get out of it. Fears, high strung, hysteria, irritability, insecurity, insomnia, which we're going to talk about tomorrow. We're going to talk about using lavender flower essence and lavender essential oil. The whole thing tomorrow is on insomnia, the whole thing. Now that you've learned about lavender flower essence and now you're learning about lavender essential oil, we're going to put those two together tomorrow and we're going to talk about how to use them for insomnia. Jitteriness. How many people who are coming on medication, that means pharmaceutical or street drugs, have the jitters, don't they? Lost inner child. It's great for meditation. Mental exhaustion, moodiness, nervousness, nightmares, obsessional behavior, overexcitedness, panic, psychosomatic illness, relaxation, restlessness, sensitivity, shock, soothing, stress, study, trauma, and worry. And you can check this information out in Valerie Warwood's book and mine too. So let's look at the case study that Dawn did on orange, lavender, and Roman chamomile for teenage anxiety. So I'm going to get out of my, I'm going to end this. Stop sharing that. If it'll let me here, I'm trying. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to reshare again.
Lori, just to let you know, your
Yes.
sound is cutting out a little bit. Maybe you
Okay.
could cut off your camera to see if we can hear you a little bit better, please.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you.
Thanks. Let's try that. So I'm going to turn on my screen. We're going to look at Dawn's. Can you guys see that?
Yes, we can.
Let me know. Great, thanks. Okay, so this is a case study that Dawn, a registered aromatherapist and naturopathic doctor, did to become a certified aromatherapist, professional aromatherapist in our school. It's entitled Oil Blend Orange, Lavender, and Roman Chamomile to Help Anxiety in an Adolescent Girl. This was a 13-year-old girl who is currently in the last year of middle school. During the middle of the school year, she began to experience anxiety. The client, when asked if anything had changed in her life at home or school, the client could not recall anything she felt would make her anxious. I also asked if she'd ever been bullied while at school, and the client said she had not, and also confirmed she had friends at school and enjoyed attending classes, but just would get really nervous at random periods. She would get extremely nervous at intervals throughout the day, but especially while at school. After talking with her daughter, the mother wanted to see if essential oils would be beneficial her clients to ease her daughter's anxiety. I met with a pair of them, and after the mother confirmed that the young lady was healthy and wanted to use a natural avenue in treating her daughter's anxiety, the client and her mother confirmed that she had no known issues and felt the family ate a healthy diet. The National Institute of Mental Health Statistics estimates that 31.9% of adolescents have any anxiety disorder. The prevalence of any anxiety disorder among adolescents was higher for females, 38.38%, and then for males was 21.6. Now, we know this has increased since we had the pandemic. We know this increased with teenagers. There was more suicide and there was more anxiety, and children still are more anxious. So this is something that you guys can use. So the blend was 6 drops of orange, 6 drops of lavender, and 6 drops of Roman chamomile in 1 ounce of a carrier oil. The rationale is she used one chemical constituent in orange is beta-marcin, which has a sedative properties. In one study, the research compared the effect of orange essential oil aromatherapy on anxiety of hemodialysis patients. The research showed that the patients who used orange essential oils, the level of state mind and trait anxiety decreased significantly compared with the usual care group. Also in the orange oil group, the level of state and trait anxiety decreased significantly between the first, second, third, and fourth weeks of intervention. The ambient odor of orange when diffused in waiting rooms of dentist office showed women to have a lower level of state of anxiety, a more positive mood, and a higher level of calmness. Again, orange when mixed with lavender has been found to reduce anxiety in patients waiting for dental treatments. Remember that, that's in the quiz. The success of these studies in decreasing anxiety levels led me to choose orange essential oil along with lavender oil and blend them together for the client's anxiety. The major chemical constituents of lavender are linoleic acetate and linalool, which have sedative properties. Lavender was chosen for its soothing and balancing benefits as well as antidepressant and sedative benefits. A cancer diagnosis is a serious stressor that is associated with anxiety, depression, sleep disorders, and inability to fulfill daily routines. In a study with patients being treated with chemotherapy, the authors compared trait anxiety values before and after chemotherapy and found a significant difference in the lavender group. Lavender also has been proven effect reduce anxiety levels in coronary patients. Roman chamomile has esters which can enhance the existing soothing and calming properties of lavender and orange. A study with Roman chamomile, lavender, and neroli essential oils was conducted with percutaneous coronary intervention patients in intensive care. The aromatherapy effectively reduced the anxiety levels and increased the sleep quality of the PCI patients admitted to the ICU. Adding Roman chamomile essential oil to the orange and lavender oil already chosen will make a nice blend for reducing her anxiety. So the client was encouraged to do a self-massage of the blend into the back of her neck before encountering situations that had prompted her anxiety. Massage with aromatherapy has been shown to reduce anxiety. The back of the neck is a good place to apply because this is where the brain meets the spinal cord. Two key components of the nervous system, which then transmits messages to other areas of the body. During episodes of anxiety, I encourage the client to inhale her blend, just as you guys did today. You inhaled lavender, as an inhalation of essential oils has been shown to be an effective method of reducing anxiety. The response, the client reported she felt calmer after following the protocol. Her parents said they noticed a difference in the client's ability to handle the school day. The client was calmer when going to school as well as showed less signs of anxiety in her overall life. The father thanked me for easing his daughter's struggle. The client mentioned she enjoyed using the essential oil blend because it smelled good and her school friends liked it and wanted to use her blend. So, a conclusion, here reports from the client's parents, that they could see a real difference in their daughter was very encouraging. The client felt better able to cope while at school, and her parents noticed a significant difference. I believe that the client liking the smell really is an important aspect of aromatherapy and receiving the full benefits from this therapy. I recognize there are other essential oils that could be used when treating anxiety. For instance, sandalwood has been shown to be effective in reducing anxiety. Patchouli also has been used in reducing anxiety because it has calming and relaxing benefits. Given the client's youth, I felt the essential oils chosen to fit her needs the best. There are also other ways to administer the oils that would have been beneficial, as well as reflexology points dealing with the nervous system. Studies have shown that lavender essential oil baths have been an effective treatment in reducing stress and anxiety. And here are all her references. Okay, does anybody have any questions on this? Does anybody have any questions? Ruth, please let me know. I just thought this was a case study to share with you guys. Okay, so Nancy put her hand up, so I can't. So please have her put it either in the chat. Yes, you could use this for adults, and you could, let's look at the formulation here. She used 18 drops. You could use, just as a basic formulation, 3%, which is around 23 drops. So you could increase this to, like, 8 a piece here for an adult. So it'd be 8 drops orange, 8 drops lavender, 8 drops Roman chamomile. The same here, or you can increase it to about 8. That's just a very basic formulation. Also, you could also look to see, it is in 1 ounce of carrier oil. Kathy asked a question. It's 6 drops orange, 6 drops lavender, 6 drops Roman chamomile in 1 ounce carrier oil. Okay. And let's see, anybody else? Yes, you could put it in a diffuser if you wanted. You could just put the 6 drops of orange, 6 drops of lavender, and 6 drops of Roman chamomile if you would like. Okay, great questions. All right, I am going to put this down, and I'm going to put up our, so we want to thank Dawn for allowing us to use that, and it was a great case study. And so Ruth, can you guys see my slides good now? And yes, she did use it on the back of the neck. That's what she said in the case study. She used it on the back of the neck. So how to use lavender essential oil, and here we go. Massage for adults, 23 drops, 3 ounces in 1 ounce, which is 30 ml. Carrier oil. You can use lavender in hot or compress, in clay, cream, lotions, or oils, in sitz baths, foot baths. Add it to your personal flower essence blend, right, or your essential oil blend. And for more applications, you can check out my book on pages 14 to 28, Common Sense, A Practical Guide to Aromatherapy. And today we have a special price for that for you. And Ruth will put that in the chat for you guys to order that if you don't have my book yet. And now we're going to look at how to use lavender essential oil for anxiety with acupressure. So this is really cool. Yesterday we did heart 7. Today we have one more. So what you're going to do is, if you don't have lavender oil in a roller ball, don't worry about it. We're just going to have you smell it first, okay? So, but let me talk about this first. In acupuncture and acupressure, an excellent point to calm and ground you is the spirit gate, heart H7. It's a source point for the heart meridian. This point helps you hear the voice of your heart. It is a self-regulating point, bringing balance whether you have an overactive or underactive heart fire. So what this does is, if you're stressed or you are depressed, it will, okay? So let's locate it here. You're going to locate it. It's right, open up the palm of your hand facing up. And you're going to go to your wrist crease there. And between the pisiform bone and the distal tip of the ulnar, you are going to press in there, okay? So that's where it's at. So find that place. It's right there. Find it. Now, take a short sniff of your lavender. If you have a roll-on with lavender in it, place it on that area. If you don't worry about it. Sniff your lavender. And now I want you to go back to that place, and I want you to hold it. And we're going to hold it, and you're going to rub it, massage it back and forth in a small motion. And we're just going to do it for 15 seconds. Okay, so put it in the chat and let Ruth know how it feels to you right now. Like me, I can really feel a lot of energy flowing through my body, is how I'm feeling by doing it. So this is good for anxiety. We used it yesterday for stress, but it's also good for anxiety. Okay, the next one we're going to do, this is another point that you can do for anxiety also. And it's called the pericardium P6. It's the inner gate. It's often used for nausea because it harmonizes the stomach. Well, if you're anxious, stomach usually is upset. It is also a great point to open up the chest and the heart, because what it does is it counteracts the contracting energy of anxiety. Because a lot of times when you get anxious, you can't breathe, right? You go, oh, I can't breathe. I'm anxious. You do that. So this is a great point. So this point is located, let's go down here. It's located on the inside of the forearm, about 2 inches down from your wrist crease in the middle of your forearm. So, go about 2 inches down from the crease of your wrist. And right there in the middle, that's where it's located. Okay? So what you're going to do is find that point. Now sniff your lavender, or if you have a roll-on, roll it on that area. And we're going to hold that area for 15 seconds. All right, that was 15 seconds. Now you can do this 1 to 3 minutes, but this is really a good point to press these two acupoints, the spirit gate and the inner gate. And let's, okay, so Jasmine said a bit more calm. So please now sense how you're feeling. I'm feeling a lot more energy in my body all over, especially in my shoulders and my upper part of my body. So let me know how you guys are doing now since you pressed these 2 points. And just think, you can use this on kids with the flower essence or the essential oil. You can use it on the elderly. Say you're claustrophobic. I have a deal with escalators, long escalators, going up and going down. And now in Paris airport, they have a super long escalator in Charles de Gaulle. It's brand new since they're getting ready for the Olympics. And I was on that, and I had my luggage, of course, with me, and it was I had to do a lot of breathing going down because it was a long one. So Terry says she feels much calmer and she has more energy. Deborah says feeling more calm. Kathy says feeling more relaxed and aware. So we don't have to be sleepy to be relaxed. We can be relaxed and also aware. Great, Kathy. Thank you guys for sharing that. I really appreciate it. So now we're going to turn it back over to Zoe, and she's going to talk to us about the safety of lavender because we want you guys to really understand the safety about lavender today, and she'll discuss that with you. So I'm going to. Oh, and Jasmine said, I'm feeling calmer again. I have another class I should log into that started 10 minutes ago and feeling really anxious, but the lavender is calming me. Fantastic, Jasmine. That's awesome. Okay, Zoe, I'm going to end my show and I'm going to turn off my screen so you can come on now.
Okay. So let me share my presentation again. And so here's a little bit more information so to understand also what kind of safety we're going to use. Just briefly, let's see what is the chemical composition of lavandula angustifolia. So as Lori was saying, um, what's interesting is that it is a very big balancing and rebalancing essential oil. So that is due to its kind of cocktail of chemical compounds. So there's a lot of esters with lineal acetate, which is globally, like physically and psychologically, very relaxing. Then we have linalool, which is physically balancing. And then we have the monoterpenes, such as limonene and ocimane, that are more stimulating. And then the beta caryophyllene, that is balancing physically and psychologically. So that's what is interesting with lavender angustifolia essential oil, and even with the tea, that a lot of times people use it for insomnia, except for depending on how your nervous system is going to be regulated or where you actually need more balancing, it's going to really come balance that out. So if you take too much of it, or if you're just in a certain space, it might balance you the opposite way and stimulate you and not actually help you to relax or to find sleep. So that's something that you have to know. A lot of times too much might get you too stimulated. Here is some little safety guidelines of essential oil use in general. So they're very powerful. So we recommend diluting them maximum to 3%. So 3% essential oils for 1 ounce carrier oil, which would be 23 drops for an adult. And for sensitive skin to only use 1%. So that would be 12 drops. Or we're also going to talk about EFRA. So here it says before use unless otherwise indicated by EFRA. And so we're going to talk about the International Fragrance Association, which kind of regulates and gives a lot of guidelines for how to use most fragrances, and so essential oils also fall under that category. So especially for topical use, for cosmetics, all of that, it's a really great resource to kind of know what we're working with and what kind of sensibilities and sensitivities and contraindications are already known. So they can contain powerful chemical constituents such as eugenol, carvacroth, thymol, camphor, 1.8 cyanol, menthol. So those are just a couple of examples. Um, and so in Europe, we work a lot with allergens, for example, in the skincare industry. And so there's 26 recognized allergens that can be found. And 16 of those can be found in essential oils. And so on the labels of skincare products and perfumery, you have to place the allergens that are in the product. So since Lori had a organic skincare and perfumery company for over 10 years, she can tell you a whole lot about that. And so you have to be careful with essential oils to avoid any mucous membranes. So avoiding your eyes, around your eyes, avoiding the mouth, the tongue, taking them internally, genitals, anus, accidentally spilling them on your skin, and you're always going to want to dilute them. And if you know that you're prone to sensitive skin, you can always do a patch skin test. So, for example, on your wrist or on the inside of your elbow, and take the time to see how you react to that in a very small dose on a very sensitive part of your body to make sure that you don't, start rubbing something all over yourself and then have this huge reaction. You also need to be careful after surgery to make sure that you're hydrated before using essential oils. That way you don't absorb them too quickly. And again, it's important to say that essential oils are not meant to take the place of a qualified medical practitioner, that it is always a good idea to consult with your medical practitioner, your general practitioner, for your health conditions and for the use of essential oils. And in France, we have some specialized doctors in aromatherapy, which are great resources that can really help you because they know what they're talking about with essential oils. And we also have specialized pharmacists, if they are not too occupied trying to find what they're going to be able to sell to you, because it's also a huge business. They can have also some interesting advice to give, or they can at least tell you avoid this or you can't do that. We hope. So IFRA, real quick, is the International Fragrance Association. And so it's basically gives the standards for the risk management system to use the fragrance ingredients safely. Um, and so there's an expert panel that works on that. And so they're constantly, of course, recomposing and recreating their guidelines, and their restrictions are constantly changing. So it's very interesting to keep on top of that. So more specifically in lavender essential oil, so still talking about lavandula angustifolia, the ones that, for example, are considered allergens by IFRA, there's four that we can find, four chemical um, compounds in lavender essential oil, which is the first is coumarin, which, so I just kind of put a little description just to kind of give you an idea of what these molecules usually do. So they're allergens, so they can create allergic reactions in certain types of people. And you could also become sensitized to them. um, due to like high exposition or just a certain sensitivity to other things. So coumarin is really the smell of tonka bean. So if you've smelt that before, it's really beautiful and it's very special. And it smells a lot of the times like a on a hot summer day, how beautiful flowers smell in a field. So it's a very strong antispasmodic. It's relaxing and also has an influence on serotonin levels. Um, so a lot of times that's why we have these beautiful images that come in. So it's just, a lot of times these plants that have coumarins can be used for depression or really help relieve anxiety. Next, we have geraniol, which linalool is also, they are monoterpenic alcohols, so which we call monoterpenols. And so they're both found, so especially linalool is the like major components in lavender essential oil. And so they're going to be great immunomodulators. They help harmonize the nervous and cardiovascular system and even the hormonal system. They're antibacterial, antiviral, antidepressive, and they help really regulate the production of stress hormones. So that's how they're going to have an effect also with the endocrine system. And so they're considered adaptogens. So that means that they adapt to their environment and adapt the person and their emotional state to their environment. So that's why they can either stimulate or relieve at the same time. And then we have limonene, which is a monoterpene. So monoterpenes are very fluid and volatile. They can oxidate very rapidly. So that's why all of your essential oils like citruses that have a lot of limonene in them are going to oxidize very quickly and you're going to want to use them up rapidly. And so limonene is more stimulating, it's anti-inflammatory, it can increase concentration, it's antiseptic, antiviral, antibacterial, and immunostimulating. So everything you would use, for example, lemon essential oil for. Um, then I thought this was maybe interesting to talk about because it can be a frequently asked um, question because there has been a lot of talk about this, and Lori was mentioning the fact that it has, this kind of like masculine and feminine energy, and so that's pretty interesting because there's been reported cases. So in 2007, there was these doctors that had cases of healthy prepubertal boys who had who started having gynecomastia, so developing like small breasts, and it was quite unusual, and they actually found out and realized the doctor started asking, oh, well, what kind of products do you use and maybe that you use regularly? Realized that these three boys had in common was using products that they applied topically that contain lavender and tea tree oils. And so then they carried out studies to see, oh, would this be true? And so the results of the laboratory studies, as quoted here, confirmed that pure lavender and tea tree oils can mimic the actions of estrogen and inhibit the effects of androgens. This combinatorial activity makes them somewhat unique as endocrine disruptors. And so that's quite interesting, but there's more research that is needed because the cases are very few. So it really depends also on your particular kind of like hormone orchestra that goes on also with your body. And so, because hormones is a really big question of what receptors you have, and so then how those hormones are going to affect that. So also there's no real question about maybe the cocktail mixture of the lavender and tea tree compounds. So is it like separate compounds in lavender and tea tree? Is it the same compounds? There's not very much precise information about that. But it's also really interesting to see, oh, well, you should be aware of what you're putting on your skin, and that as soon as we start having certain kind of symptoms, it's always interesting to ask people, well, what are they using topically, and to not use to be moderate with our application of certain topical products. I hope that was clear. And here is just, I don't know how much time do we have. just gonna wrap up real quick on essential oil safety. So here's a lot of examples of different essential oils and how you should not use them or what's the problem with them. Um, so you're gonna have your essentials with a lot of 1.8 CNol like eucalyptus, which are going to be great for chronic pulmonary diseases. Um, well, actually, no, sorry. I meant the opposite. With CPD, you should be very careful and not use, and asthma as well, and not use with children under the age of 10. Whereas your citrus oils, you have to be really careful because they're going to be phototoxic. And so, for example, bergamot, you can find bergamot that is furocoumarin free, which means that it won't be phototoxic. If not, you cannot expose yourself to sunlight or to tanning beds after using these essential oils, and you have to be very careful because you do not want to spend a summer with those kinds of skin conditions, and especially if you're working with like all the plants in the carrot family, like angelica, all of those can give you really nasty skin irritation. So be really careful when you're just around those plants because those are also highly phototoxic, most of those plants in that family. Then there's like quite a few essential oils also that are neurotoxic, such as hyssop, thuya, sage. So be very careful. Rosemary, whether it be camphor, the chemotype, or 1.8 CNol, the chemotype, you don't want to put it near children's faces when they're very young. Then basil, fennel, and a lot of other essential oils you're not going to want to use if you're epileptic, so on and so on. A lot of essential oils, the ones that seem very spicy, also can really irritate your skin if you do not dilute them. So dilute your essential oils, please, and do not place them on your mucous membranes. And always keep away from children because large quantities taken internally can be really catastrophic. And then also, when you have special chronic conditions, there might be some contraindications. So it's always better to check with your general practitioner and check with aromatherapy literature so that there's going to be special things if you have high blood pressure, if you have epilepsy, asthma, a CPD, cancer, diabetes, dermatitis, if you've had transplants. And then if you're on any kind of medication, you have to check if there's any interactions between the different molecules so that way the molecules from essential oils don't inhibit the action of your medication. So Tisserand and Young are a great resource for that. They have a huge book that goes over all the kind of contraindications that you have with essential oils and medications, and it's very thorough, very scientific. And then it's also great to keep up your education on everything aromatherapy and how to use essential oils. And if you're not sure yet, well, think about having a consultation with a registered or certified aromatherapist that you trust. Thank you. I'm going to stop sharing.
Well, thank you, Zoe. That was very good. And we'll keep the questions for that at the end.
Okay, sounds good. See you soon.
All right. See you soon. And so now, Ruth, can you make me presenter? Oh, I don't want to turn my camera on because you said I was, darn it. Okay, so I'm going to turn my camera off. Ah, if I can here, let me see. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so thanks, Zoe, for that. I'm so proud that she's my daughter and she's a registered aromatherapist who knows her stuff. So let's make sure that you guys get my book. Ruth has stuck the link inside the chat. Make sure you get it because a day it's $15 for you participating as attendee. And now let's do our mindful lavender exercise. So what you're going to do is you are going to, and I think what I'll do is, Ruth, if I turn off my screen and I put my camera on, let me know if you think that will work as far as sound goes. Okay, so we're going to try it and see, because it'd be better if you guys can see me do this. So I'm going to stop this now. And I'm going to put turn that off. And I'm going to put my screen back on. Okay. It's always a story, all of this. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do a little mindful exercise. You're going to smell your lavender essential oil. Make sure that your feet are flat on the floor. You're sitting up straight. And we're going to take 3 deep breaths together, in through your nose and out. Now you're going to take your left hand and you're going to put it on your pubic, right above your pubic bone, your right hand on your chest. And I want you to feel your energy, if you feel your energy coming up into your chest. Because we're working with the fire energy, remember, we're working on that heart meridian, and the pericardium is part of the fire element in traditional Chinese medicine. And the pericardium is around the heart. Now remember, these are meridians. They're not, the physical organ itself. Meridians go through these organs. And so see if you feel that energy flowing up from the top of your pubic bone going up to your heart. And now you're going to take your left hand, put it on your chest, and then put your right hand on your forehead. Keep your eyes closed. I'm seeing purple, just purple, purple, purple. It's incredible. It's like I'm seeing lavender fields. I've never really had that happen before. Are you feeling the energy coming up into, this is the area of the pituitary gland, remember, right here. It's also your vision. It's like we're envisioning what you want to do in your life. So it's important that we get energy to that pituitary, that hypothalamus, that pituitary gland. Okay, so now take both of your hands like this, and you're going to put your wrist here against, underneath your eye, on your cheekbones there, right underneath your eyes. And now slowly take your hands away and open your eyes and look at your hands like that. And then you're going to bring your hands up above your head. Make sure your hands Your arms are against your ears. And then you're going to put your palms down and you're going to feel your energy field. Is it smooth? Is it rough? Is it soft? Do you have cold spots, hot spots? Bring your arms down now. And you're going to inhale. Take one last deep breath. Okay. So let us know in the chat how you're doing. And we're going to now go to our quiz. So that way you guys can win a chance at being in the Common Sense community and get our PDF file on lavender essential oil formulations. Woohoo! I'm so excited. It's great to be able to share all this with you guys. So here's our quiz. What have you learned so far? What are essential oils? How is lavender essential oil obtained? What is the botanical name of lavender, phene, AOP essential oil? And what does PNIE stand for? So first question, what are essential oils? So put it in the chat. And Ruth will send it to me. Lead energies from inside of plants. Terry says energies concentrated from plants. Great. Keep it up, you guys. Even if I put the answer, put it in there. Darcy says part of the plant that protects the plant from harm. So the vital energies from the inside of roots, seeds, plants, grasses, flowers, resins, woods, trees, and fruit peels. Next question. How is lavender essential oil obtained? And I see Kathy answered the question correctly, and Salisa, and so did Christy. Keep it up, you guys. How is lavender essential oil obtained? Steam distillation. Great, Terry. Betty, vital energies from plants and extracts from the question before. So now, how is lavender essential oil obtained? Steam distillation. Great, Kathy. And Lico also through steam distillation. Darcy, distillation. Betty, steam distillation. Fantastic. Keep it up, you guys. So lavender essential oil is obtained by cutting the flower stalks and stems, then steam distilled into an essential oil and hydrosol. Keep it up. Wow, great. I just saw Kathy Whitcomb stems through steam distillation. Perfect. Next question. What is the botanical name of lavender, phene, AOP essential oil? And Zoe talked about, this is true lavender. This is true lavender, the real lavender. So what is the botanical name? Oh, Lico says lavandula angustifolia. Okay. So who else wants to give it a try? Come on. And Lynette says lavandula angustifolia. Betty says lavandula angustifolia. Keep it up, you guys. Send all my formulations to you on lavender. Kathy says it, and the other Kathy, Kathy with a K and Kathy with a C. Awesome. Keep it up. So it is lavandula angustifolia. Good job. Next question. What does PNIE stand for? This is very important to understand how when we understand what PNIE stands for. Psycho, neuro, immune, endocrinology. Terry. Okay. Guys, if someone else has answered it, keep it up. Come on, because we want you to be able to get a chance to be in the Common Sense community for 1 month. Good job, Lynette. Psychoneuroimmunology. Kathy and Deborah. And Deborah says, oh, I'm sorry I have to go, but I enjoyed the presentation. Deborah, thank you for being with us. And Kathy, good job. And Kathy with a K says psychoneuroimmune endocrinology. And Darcy too. Okay, so let's get our answer here. Psycho, neuro, immuno, endocrinology. You guys rock. So what's our next 5 questions? What are the negative imbalances of lavender essential oil? Now we've been talking about it all our June forecast. So you guys got to know that one. What are the positive qualities of lavender essential oil? And did Dawn use orange essential oil mixed with lavender essential oil because they reduce anxiety in dental patients? And does lavender essential oil have allergens according to the European Union? And what are the names of the acupoints you use for anxiety? Question 1. What is the negative imbalance of lavender essential oil? It should be what are the negative imbalances of lavender essential oil? And let's look at the name of our June 4th. You know, and we talked about it today. So what is it? Bruce writing to me. Okay, here we go. Anxiety, stimulation, anxiety negative, high strung, Betty, Darcy, anxiety, Lico, wound up. Okay. Okay, we've got it, a mix here. Looks like Betty's got it. She got high strung and wound up. That's part of it. And also what? Absorbing energies off of everyone and never charging them. And Kathy got it. Kathy Saller got it. Excellent, Kathy. High strung, wound up, absorbing energies off of everyone and never discharging them. Remember, it's that mother who stops, never down, never discharges, never relaxes, and lets go, right? So now, what are the positive qualities of lavender essential oil? I just put it away. What are the positive qualities of lavender essential oil? Balance between male and female. Exactly, that's part of it. Okay. Calming. Okay. Keep it now. Relieves headache, relieve insomnia from Darcy. Relaxing, calming, allowing sleep, Lynette. The positive qualities of the emotional and mental aspect. Perfect balance, Lico says, perfect balance between masculine and feminine. Pure embodiment, nurturing, earth loving energy. Okay. And kind. Good job, Lico. Good job. And Kathy Whitcomb says the same thing. Exhaustible amount of energy. Good job, Kathy. All right. So the answer is balance between masculine and feminine. It's completely mothering in its personality. Electric, formidable, yet gentle and the perfect embodiment of the mother. Next question. Did Dawn use orange essential oil, lavender essential oil to reduce anxiety in dental patients? Yes or no? Oh, we've got some more answers from everybody. Good job, Kathy. Yours too. And Betty, great. Keep it up, you guys. And we got, it is a yes. Dawn did use orange essential oil mixed with lavender essential oil because they reduce anxiety in dental patients. Yes, that is true. Good job. Good job. Because it was in a study where they had taken orange and lavender and put it in dental offices and it reduced people's anxiety. So keep it up. You guys are listening. The answer is yes. Question. Does lavender essential oil have allergens according to the European Union? Remember, this is only in Europe, the allergens. So far, the FDA has not made any allergens for cosmetics and essential oils to be put on the labels in the United States, but we have it in the European Union. So the answer is what? Does lavender have allergens? I'm getting yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Excellent. Now there's 26 allergens in Europe, okay, to make it clear. There's 16 that come from essential oils, and there's 4 allergens in lavender essential oil that Zoe talked about. So just to be very, very clear. Perfect. Good. Great job. Okay. Now, what points you use for anxiety? Those 2 points that you pressed on your wrist today and on your forearm, what are the names of those acupoints you use for anxiety? What are the names? H7. Okay, that's a heart meridian. Okay, what's the other one? Who else can say, and if you can name it too? All right, we've got heart 7, spirit gate, and inner gate. Yes, great. H7. Great, great, great. Pericardium 6 and heart 7, Lynette. Awesome. And Lico says spirit gate H7 and inner gate. And Darcy says H7 and question mark. Good job, you guys. And then we have Lico said P6, which is the pericardium, right? And Kathy Whitcomb says heart 7 and pericardium 6. And Terry says inner gate, pericardium P6. All right, let's look at this. Woohoo! Spirit gate, heart H7, inner gate, pericardium P6. Rock, 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 rock. I'm so excited now. We're going to the Common Sense community, and all of you who participated in this quiz and throughout the whole thing are going to receive our Lavender Essential Formulations. And let's see who our winner is. Our winner for the free 1 month Common Sense community is Darcy. Congratulations, Darcy. Woo-hoo! All right, so Darcy has 1 month free community. And now we're going to take our questions. Do we have questions, Ruth, that I have missed? Any questions? Well, while she's doing that, I just want to, let me see here. Yes, Zoe's, the question was, will Zoe's slides be included in the PDF? Yes, they will. They will be included. We will include those. We will send those to you guys in the PDF files. Okay? So we will be included in that. Also, we want to let you guys know that all of the videos, all the recordings, and the slides will be put up on our site. And Ruth got the recordings up today from yesterday. It's up. Her and Zoe got that all done. So there'll be an email sent out, and I don't know what time that email was supposed to go out, Zoe, with the link to the recording for yesterday. So let me know, Zoe,
the recording
about
for
that.
yesterday came out at 6 p.m. European time, an hour before we started. And the recording for today will probably come out tomorrow afternoon, depending on how fast we can get it up. But probably before
Okay,
tomorrow night.
great. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Wonderful. All right. Thanks to Ruth and Zoe for working so hard on all that for us. We appreciate it. Now, make sure that you're here tomorrow with us, because tomorrow it's going to be on nothing but insomnia. So we're going to talk about insomnia, what insomnia is, how to work with insomnia, how to use a lavender flower essence and lavender essential oil for insomnia. We're going to have some more acupressure points, some different ones. And I need you to bring your 1 ounce roll-on bottle with 12 drops of lavender essential oil and 4 drops of lavender flower essence in 1 ounce of carrier oil. Now, if you don't have the flower essence, don't worry about it. If you don't have the essential oil, but you have the flower essence, don't worry about it. Just put what you have in the 1 ounce carrier oil, okay? So that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. We're also going to give another Common Sense Community member 1 month membership. So make sure that you are in the quiz, that you, because we have, that way we'll have 3 people who get 1 month with us. Make sure you purchase my book because it's got lavender, it's got all kinds of information about flower essences and traditional Chinese medicine. It has a chapter on both of those. And then we've got all the great information about essential oils in it and 170 formulations. Oh, here's a question. Here we go. Lico says, can lavender essential oil be applied directly to skin? It can be if you do not have any allergy to it. It can be applied for acute conditions. Say you had a headache, say you had an accident between 1 and 7 days. And you wouldn't be using it constantly all day long. You would be using it in, very, intermittently, I guess it's increments, every 2 hours, or every 4 hours, something like that. And you need to make sure that, you're not having any kind of reaction from it. But yes, I have done that for my son. He was, like I said before, he's been bucked off many horses, and we use it directly on him, especially when he had a concussion. He had a concussion, and because he was ran over by a cow, and pick up Bert, and he was delirious. So I used lavender on him for that, and I used it and watched him carefully. So the was rosemary contraindications, and Zoe for Betty was she wanted to know if rosemary, if it's contraindicated in epilepsy. And I think it's the rosemary with camphor, isn't it? And because they both contain it. Is that correct, Zoe?
Well, yes. I would say it is, but it depends who you look at. Rosemary can be neurotoxic, and but I think it depends. A lot of times it's
It's
it's it's contraindicated for hypertension, for sure. And
mhm.
it's
There's always
it's also
controversy
just
over that too.
the sorry, the rosemary officinalis
Oh, go ahead.
is contraindicated also. Well, apparently there's some I've read that there's some uses that Jean Valnet um Jean Valnet found that there was if you use it in too high of dosages, it is it can create an epileptic crisis. Um, but in other cases, people have used it in low
Mm-hmm.
quantity to in the treatment of epilepsy. So you just have to be careful with the dosage, of course, but not recommend it for epileptics.
Okay. He wanted to make sure that she had that correct. Okay. Good question. And then another question was here. Lynette says, will a PDF come after the 3 days? Yes, the PDF file will come up later. And And then Lynette asked too, is it the one that is higher in camphor or is it both? The one does have, oh, Zoe, I'm sorry, I didn't. Because I know
I'm
you
really
can't
not
use them
sure.
with small children under 2 because of the camphor in them.
You're really coming in and out a lot, so it's hard to understand what you're saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. There was a question from Lynette. She was asking if it was rosemary that was rosemary's.
I can't understand what you just said, and I don't see Lynette's question here. So I don't know which rosemaries, but um
Oh,
most
okay.
of them, I guess.
All right then. Well, we'll answer the question later when everyone can hear me correctly. So can you hear me now, Zoe? Okay.
Yes, but I think anyway we should probably wrap up since it's been 2 hours.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So we want to make sure that you guys are there tomorrow. So we'll see you tomorrow. And thank you all for being with us today. And don't forget your essentials. Use your common sense. Au revoir.